Hey, everyone. This is Mind Power Meets Mystic. Welcome, welcome with Michelle Walters, our beloved Mind Power, and me, Cynthia Verkevisser, the Mystic. Today, we're here for part two with these amazing animal communicators. We have Yvette Weegis, who is a cranial sacral healer with animals, as well as Reiki healer and an amazing artist. And then we have Melissa Scout Chaidez. She's all those and a bag of chips.
Yay.
And she's an animal communicator as well as a healer of humans through animal communication. So thank you so much for doing part two. It was a lot of fun talking about your perception of being an animal communicator and how the animals respond. Let's talk about the inner workings of the work that you do. How's that sound?
Perfect.
All right, so let's talk about when people find you, do they know what are they practiced people? Well, let me back up. I find that people go to animal communicators have not done readings before. And so they come in and you actually get the virgins.
Yeah.
Right? Usually. You get the reading virgins.
Yep.
So I'd love to hear what that's like and how do you put everyone at ease and what are the FAQs around these newbies?
Good call. I think with me, I have an in. I usually go in with a cranial sacral, and that's usually when an animal's been injured or there's a behavioral shift, any trauma. And I tell people any trauma that the animal experiences, getting neutered, getting spayed, to being forgotten at the grocery store, all of that is trauma for them. When an animal changes their behavior overnight. And so then I come in and so I can ease them into the communication aspect that way. So people don't generally call me first to communicate. So I think Scout might know better how they approach her because.
Yeah, I mean, mine usually come by word of mouth. And often it's because there's something that they're trying to figure out, maybe behavioral, maybe maybe they heard about this from somebody else. It's always something like that. And then they want to know how do we do this? Do we do this remotely? Do I have to come to you? I'm in Minnesota, you're in California. And it's done remotely. Generally ask for a picture. I've recently learned it's not necessary. And I'm still able to connect to the pet. And I usually put them at ease by the first thing I generally do when I talk to an animal is ask them about themselves. What are the things they like the most? What do they enjoy doing? What do they like to eat? And then for me, I meditate and talk to them. And as the animal approaches me, tells me about their personality. So then in my reading, I give that information first to the client. So like, are we talking to Fluffy? Does that sound like Fluffy? Yes. Okay, great. I thought so. Yes. And then we go from there. So that is, I think, very important to get a sign on from the client. Like, oh, yep, that's my pet.
Yeah, because I have communicated with the wrong pet before.
I have too. No, I have
my
two.
God.
Like in a family of like 4 dogs.
Or just a cat that wanted to fuck with me because, cats are cats. Like I was sharing with Melissa the other day, someone who called me to help her find her lost cat, her cat. And I'll make this one short.
No.
But her cat's name was One-Eyed Robbie. And he was an orange tabby cat missing his left eye, let's say. I don't remember what eye, but he was lost and she called me and I was like, well, all right, well, let's see what I can do. And I think we had like 4 or 5 sessions together. And I kept telling the woman, no, I still get 3 blocks west of your house. There's a house that looks like this. And he's there. He says he's not lost. He's on an adventure, but he's not lost. He'll come home tonight. It was that every single time. So finally she calls me, she sends me a text and she says, I found the house that you were describing. And look who I found. And she sends me a picture of One-Eyed Robbie. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you found him. She's like, oh, no, look again. This cat was orange. He was missing his right eye.
Oh.
But his name, because she knocked on the door to ask the people, his name was One-Eyed Jack.
crazy?
So I had been taught, and of course he wasn't lost. He
Right.
was on an adventure. Now,
And he
unfortunately,
went home every night.
one-eyed Robbie was never found. And we did call in. I called in a mentor of mine to help, and she had gotten that he had fallen victim to coyotes.
Mm.
But I thought I had just started out at the time, and it was a huge validation for me because I was talking to somebody chimed in. He had a great sense of humor. I love it.
How can you not with the name
I
like
have a
it?
funny question. Have any of the animals ever told you something kind of secret or private, or that the pet parents might not have wanted you to know?
Oh my God, that's so scary.
No,
Yeah, me too.
No. no. I have had a dog.
You know, well, my dad has a secret girlfriend and I really hate her.
No,
Okay.
no.
It's a big fear. Just know it's a
It's
big
a big
fear.
fear.
Everybody's like, I don't want you to talk to my animal because I don't know what they might tell you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not what you think. They're not here to
they're-
rat you out.
They're not.
They're
gonna
not here to rat you out.
That's so good to know.
I have had a dog tell me that she wanted to be rehomed.
Oh.
That she was
I could see that.
she came from a puppy mill. She was very frightened of men, and she was living with a man and a woman, and they had her for 2 years when they called me, and she was
Wow.
still petrified of this man. And she asked me to be rehomed, and I was so, speaking of crying,
Me
and
too.
so didn't know what to do, that I actually called in a mentor of mine, and on the DL, I did get permission from the dog's owner, but I paid my mentor to read the dog just to make sure that I wasn't wrong,
Right.
because that's a big thing to ask. Like, oh, your
Yes.
dog doesn't want to live with you anymore. She got the same thing I got without knowing anything. All she got was the dog's picture. I didn't give her names, nothing. She got the dog's photo, and she got what I got. And then I had to sit down and have a hard conversation. Very hard.
That's a good question, Michelle. And I will tell you, these two, you should feel the energy in my office right now. They are so like bummers right now. So this is, I could tell that this really affected them. This is really a sad story for both of them.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
I wasn't trying to like sink the day or anything. I was
Yeah,
just
no,
worried,
But
you know.
they totally keyed into each other energetically, and I'm like, oh my God, they're both about to cry. Or
Well,
you know,
and pets, pets, people don't think anything at all about doing things in front of their pets, that you would never do in front of other people. So I have a question. So I do hypnotherapy, right? And I do group hypnotherapy online from time to time. I know Scout has come at least once to my sessions.
Awesome.
And one of the things that when I remember, I tell people to talk to their animals and put their animals in another room, because it's my observation that when people get hypnotized, the animals come and sit on top of them. And some of them, like, I tell people this, like, if your cat is in the room, it is very likely that your cat will decide that now is the time to come and sit on top of you. And it's kind of my theory that animals like it when people are meditating or in a state of hypnosis, and that it draws them to them. But I'm wondering if you've ever talked to an animal about that. Like, what are your thoughts about that? Because it happens not every time, but it happens a lot.
Well, I mean, cats are pretty much energy vampires.
Yes.
They love the stuff.
they're not vampires coming as a
Right.
cat. as a
Right,
cat.
right.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
but I
pick
get
up
it.
that
They
energy is what you're
feel
saying.
it.
They
are magnets, yeah.
They feel it.
Magnets.
They come.
Yes.
Um,
I agree completely.
dogs.
Some dogs.
Some dogs.
Yes.
But like there was no way I couldn't work or have a session without my cat being.
Getting
She would
involved.
just come in and be like, "I'm here," and she'd get involved.
Mhm.
I kind of think sometimes she was helping too.
I'm sure. For sure.
know.
I've had
Yeah.
healers, friends. I had one that was a body worker, what you used to do. And she swore her cat would come and heal people. And sometimes, and it happened to an ex of mine, she was working on her and the cat came in, jumped up on the massage table and laid on my partner and, on her chest. And she was allergic to cats then, she's not anymore, but and my then partner was like, oh my God, it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. And it wasn't about the massage, it was about the cat's energy and how
Yeah.
she was feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that they can be helpers and workers. I think they help to ground us. I think the most wonderful thing is when an animal's in the room, I feel like people are more authentic. You're grounded. I think you feel better. It's like part of nature. It's part of I don't know. When an animal's in and with us, I feel like I get a better sense of a person as well. So kind of went off topic, but yeah, I do think that they can help us work with our own energy. And I do think they are attracted by your very quiet, meditative energy.
Yeah.
For sure.
When I had my bodywork practice, I had a wolf Malamute.
Oh.
Small was her name, and she was 85 pounds of not from this world animal. I've not met a dog since like her, and I've got some pretty great dogs in my life. But she would come in and I'd be working, and I have to say how lucky I am that my whole bodywork career, my clients, the people that I would attract were fine with all of my things. Like, oh yeah, I'm bringing my dog to the office this day. And they'd be like, oh, great. Chewing on a bone. They didn't have a problem with it. But she would stand on the table and she would rest her head, like maybe on a knee or on, and she would know. And she'd just rest her head and I'd look at her and I'd be like, I know that knee's going to need attention today.
Wow.
And she had a better track record than I did. No, they know. They
That's,
know.
that's amazing.
And horses know.
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
I will, if I'm like super pissed off or, whatever I can be, I will cancel an appointment with a horse because I don't want to, and it's never happened, but I know in my head that because I've been around horses enough to know that if you show up and you are crying or you're upset, the horse is not, they're just not going to be as receptive, or they're going to take that on.
I was told that the reason that equines are so interesting is that they are much more connected to their horse than any other being. And so the rider or the owner and the horse, it's like they have the primary relationship.
Hopefully.
And
Right.
and that,
Yeah.
Other partners be damned. And so I find that interesting because one is horses scare me just by size,
By
not by
size,
anything
yeah.
else. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and by size. And I could never figure out why horse owners had a hard time communicating. And I think it's because their communication with the horse is vibrational and not anything else. And is that track with your experience with, and that's what they're called, right? Equines, people who,
Equestrians,
equestrians.
horse owners.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Probably because I'm not in tune with the person when I'm there for the horse. And I do know that I had a client, a horse was out in Moraga and they didn't have a stable. It was pasture and there was like 20 horses in pasture. I think what horses do is because they are herd animals, it's one like big entity almost when you walk, because they're all tuned into everyone. So of course the horse is tuned into their rider.
Yes.
Hopefully the rider's tuned into their horse.
Yeah.
I would walk out in this pasture and I would work on my client. Out of 20 horses, I had one client there. Although I should have billed everybody, because when I would finally open my eyes
You know,
Every horse, yes,
Yeah.
in the pasture, there'd be a circle around me, heads half dropped, and they
Yes.
were all taking in
drooling.
the energy. Yeah,
Yes,
they love it.
yes.
And yeah,
My perspective, I would say, would be from having horses, and kind of similar for me to surfing, riding horses. It's that same energy. Energy moves through me, moves through them. And like a wave, same thing. Like you're in the moment, in the movement of the wave, and it's like we're one. That's how it feels to me. And yeah, and I move my energy through them and back. It's
Totally, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That completely makes sense to me. And what do you, I mean, I have never been a horse owner, and I rarely get to see horses, much alone touch them and spend time with them. Are the owners, like I said, because they're so in touch with their horses, what are you usually working on? Is it like a digestion diet thing? Is it a behavior thing, or what does it tend to be?
everything.
everything for
Just like a
me,
dog.
yeah.
But
for yeah, it is everything. But a lot of the horses that I have seen, the head injuries,
Oh,
because I go with the cranial sacral stuff.
Right.
So I've seen head injuries, lameness, uh, spinal
Yeah.
colic,
Oh, yeah.
you know, because mixing the cranial sacral in with, I can't help it if the horse is taking energy, they're taking Reiki. And so that helps move a lot of things, and they're really receptive to that.
mhm.
So that's why somebody would call me, and I did work on an ex. They were afraid to let me work on her because she was such a pill and she was mean. And the minute I saw her, I was like, oh, honey, because I could see that she had had a head injury, and her eyes were just one high.
Yeah.
I worked on that animal for 20 minutes, and she became my best friend.
Yes.
And
That's the thing.
yeah,
Is so many behavioral problems can actually be physical in the body, right? Which I'm
Yes,
sure is what you
yes.
must encounter, and it will just completely change their behavior once you fix that misalignment. That animal will be completely different. Right?
absolutely. And she was, and
amazing.
people, I remember the guys who worked at the stable would call her 15 because that was her stall number.
Mhm.
And they would look at me and they'd go, I don't know what you're doing, but La 15, she's such a sweet girl now. And I'd be like, all right, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
happy.
I want to play a game.
Okay.
I
Uh-oh.
want to play a game, and the game I want to play is like lightning round. And so I want to give each of you an animal, and then you tell me what, if you've ever talked to that animal before, what that kind of animal likes to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. So Scout, what do
Yeah.
cats like to talk about?
Gosh.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong here. I'm just
well, no.
curious.
I would
What is the
say-
thing a cat might talk about?
The most recent was food, and she came across as a sassy, fat. They better get up. They better give me my food. That's their job. They know it. I don't care if it's 4 a.m. Get up. Feed me now.
Okay. Okay, that's a good answer. Okay. Yvette, you get horses.
Horses. With the horses get, what would a horse, it's like the most thing that I've gotten from horses. It's funny because horses and food.
Yes.
I'm sure food is common amongst like all of
Food.
them. Yeah.
I've had horses not like their names more than any other animals where they've asked for name changes.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, and I've had, it's kind of funny, I've had a couple of animals ask for, and then behaviors change because now they are responding to a name,
That they align.
that they align with.
Oh my God. I should.
Okay,
I-
Scout, you used to work on a farm, right? How about we go for either a pig or a goat?
Pig, honestly, it's sleeping. They like make nests, and which you wouldn't think. So about its bedding and the material.
Pigs want to talk about beds. Okay, Yvette, you get dogs.
Dogs love to talk about having fun. Dogs, yeah,
All about it.
all about having fun. And also, as I get a little
For Clem.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Always. Oh,
are the most grateful, loving animals. You can definitely kick your dog and know that they're gonna love you at the end of the day.
they almost always give like some big
like-
love message. I mean, often, right?
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
I can almost
and
say almost
appreciate-
always.
Okay,
Yeah.
Scout, your next animal is birds.
birds.
What do
Wow.
birds want to talk about?
You got to give that to Yvette too.
Yeah, I honestly have never communicated with a domestic bird.
Okay.
But I have used birds to see, like looking for an animal. But I've never, yeah, like like a missing animal, and like I'm the bird in the tree up there, and I can see.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
found a couple of dogs that way. Kind of
That's cool. Okay, Yvette, you get birds too.
Birds. I have worked with chickens and parrots and crows. It's kind of funny. Food. All animals like food.
Yay, food.
With I have had a parrot tell me that he wanted to remain number one.
Mm.
So I don't know. I haven't really hung out with parrots enough to know their little idiosyncrasies, but I've had chickens ask me to be let go to die.
Wow.
I have had chickens who, because again, people call me in when there is, someone who's going to drop some cash on a chicken who's egg bound so that I can
Right.
work cranial sacral, but I have gotten it. I'm not egg bound. I need to go.
Mm.
And then the wild birds, well, I talk to the crows a lot in the neighborhood, and with them, they like to play with me. It's I can literally, and I've been practicing lately, is because wild animals, they have a lot of stuff to do. They don't have time for us. And I'll walk, and I have been starting to ask the birds, telling them that it's okay to touch me.
Oh,
And I have had a few crows now in the last month swing by and just tap me on the head as they fly by. It's happened before, but now that I'm asking for it, it happens a lot more.
love taps.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done with my lightning round.
Oh,
Cynthia, if I missed
lightning round.
animals that you want to know about, it's your turn.
Actually, I'm going to be really rude,
Oh,
and I'm going to take a
cool.
freebie. I'm gonna get a freebie on my cats.
okay.
Because I've actually talked to both of you about my cat. His name's Gray
Great
Boy.
boy.
See?
Talked to him many times.
Yeah. So the thing is Gray Boy he's super, super sensitive. He's really, really territorial now with his sister. We have
Yes.
three cats. We have that I know of. We don't
That
own
you
three
know of.
cats, but we have three cats that are trying to get into our house
Oh,
that are not
God,
them. And
not
so first of all, we're trying to figure out why the hell are these other cats trying to come in our house? It's not like we're the most loving people in the whole wide world. I'm honest, right?
Yeah.
And then the second is I have no idea how to like calm my pets and go like, I've got your back. I can, and try and figure out how we can give them their territory. Because then what happens is then the Gray Boy starts marking, and he's
Yes.
marking in a way that there's nothing that we can do.
Right.
And then he terrorizes his sister.
Yes.
And now we have to put her in the closet just so she can get rest. I mean, it's a dressing room, but it's a small room. So
Keep those safe.
yeah, you should do this
Do
too,
your
Michelle.
cats are they indoor, outdoor?
Yeah, they're both.
They're both.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's yeah, I don't know why cats from the outside would want to come here.
Weird, right?
I think cats are just curious.
Cats are, yeah, they are
They
curious.
just,
Um,
why does Gray Boy disappear for?
He hasn't
Curious.
done that lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's homebound. I know. He's
Yeah.
homebound.
but you can like you meditate in here with your cats. You could sit outside and tell the neighborhood cats, we'd rather you not.
Oh yeah,
come.
I forgot about that. I could
Brilliant.
totally do
Yeah,
that.
we'd rather you not come. This is not your territory. This is
Brilliant.
my guy, that kind of thing. And I don't get how old is Gray Boy? And
They're brother and sister, and they are 9.5 years old.
Yeah, the first kind of hit without getting too into it is there's a territorial, like,
Yeah.
as cats get older sometimes, but I get that, do you guys have a lot of high spaces in your house for them to get up in?
No, for the girl, yes. The boy's not really interested. So the girl's a birder and the
And
boy's
boys
a
are-
ratter. Yeah.
Okay, and
So
so you, oh, so they do have separate, but she has a place to get away up high.
not really, but we
She
can.
needs a
She
place
needs
to get
that.
up high.
All right.
And that, because now she's always in his territory if she can't get up.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And they fight. Yeah.
And they, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I got a question since we're doing little mini freebies. I have a dog. Scout's talked to her. Scout had a great conversation with my dog Bitsy. And but Bitsy doesn't seem to like to go on a walk. Bitsy's about 10. She's teeny tiny. She does run around the house, but is it a problem that I don't take her on a walk? Because
I don't think it is.
I don't think it
She
is.
doesn't, she's fine.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm the house dog.
she's the house dog.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine. You know, I have,
Yeah.
from my behavior studies with dogs, like I constantly remind people, your dog after the age of 3 may not want to go to the dog park anymore. Like they grow up like I don't want to go to Disneyland every day.
Yeah.
And so some dogs are like, I don't want to go to the park anymore. I ask people to regulate, like let them self-regulate.
And some dogs, after, as you say, after they kind of become adults, they're more people dogs than dogs. Like your dog, for instance.
Oh, my dog's a total people dog. My dog has no interest in spending any time with any other animals.
So
And that's
instead
okay.
of walks, take her to the local pub.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a
She'd
great
love
idea.
it.
Local pub, she'd love it.
Go
Yeah.
have a glass of wine with her.
Go to it was like
Heck
that
yeah.
lazy dog.
Well, I did during COVID, I bought this baby sling, that you
Yes.
could put your like little newborn in, and she fits in the baby sling. And I haven't taken her out in that for a while, but she loves being in the baby sling because then she's up high, she's pressed up to mommy's chest, like,
Heck yeah.
life is pretty good. Well, I think that about wraps us up. It has been so much fun talking to the two of you all about animals.
So much.
And we are wrapping up Mind Power Meets Mystic with me, Michelle Walters, and Cynthia Varkevisser, my podcasting pal. We have had this great opportunity to talk to Scout Chaidez and Yvette Weegis, our animal communicators. If you haven't entered our contest yet, please do. All you need to do is rate and review our show and fill out the little form. There's a link in the show notes. And somebody is going to win a free Mind Power Meets Mystic, the project with me and Cynthia, half an hour of a reading with Cynthia, followed by a hypnosis session with me. That's kind of a spin-off of the reading. It's really fun. People love it. And it's a great prize. So that's going up in episode 111. You will need to enter before then. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was a-
Yay.
To our audience, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
That one went even longer because we didn't